Hey there, Caesar. I'm Mike. I'm one of your mom's friends. And you may have guessed by the voice, I live in the U.S. And today, I'm going to teach you how to make pizza. And trust me, I make pizza better than any place I've ever had in England. Okay? I'm real picky about that. So, stick around. We're gonna make pizza. How's that? Keep watching. Okay, my young friend, what we have here. We have 3 cups of sifted flour with about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Okay? So this we have 8 ounces of warm water. It's about bath temperature. With a tablespoon of sugar and a packet of dry yeast. You can probably get that at Aldi or Tesco. And you want it to get a little foamy. We're just going to add that right to it. And we're going to need one more thing. Some olive oil. Alright? Doesn't have to be the fancy stuff. We're going to add a tablespoon. Bloop. Not hard at all. Now, you can either get in there with your hands or use a spatula. Get that all mixed up. Alright? We're going to get our hands in here in a minute, but we'll get it started just like this. Okay? Whoop. Like I said, get it started. Whoop. I think I lost some there. Now, you want to try to squeeze this together as much as you can. And if you need to add a little bit more water, you can, but make sure first. Alright? Because sometimes just moving it around will get the job done. Now you just push and squeeze, push and squeeze. Push and squeeze. Da 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 da, push and squeeze. And this is a little dry, so I will grab just a little bit of water, not much. Just put it in there, just so we have something to work with. We're going to keep kneading this dough as much as we can. Try to get it smooth. Alright. I'd say give it a good 5 minutes of doing this. Try to get all that dough in there. Try to get it all together. And like I said, if it looks too dry to you, add a little scoop of water. Not a big deal. You just don't want too much. You don't want a really wet dough. Alright? Okay? And I am going to put just a little bit more water in here, just because the air here is really dry today. And it's really cold. So this might not be the greatest pizza dough ever made, but it'll work. Trust me. No such thing as bad pizza. Okay? We're going to just Keep on working that. I'm going to put this flat so I can do what I need to do. Yeah, like I said, gives about 10 minutes worth of kneading that dough. Doesn't have to be perfectly smooth because we're actually going to do this a second time. But what I like to do, you don't have to, but this is just how I do it. I take it from the big bowl and I put it into a smaller bowl that I have had hot water sitting in. Alright? That will help the dough come to life a bit. Just dry it out first. Alright? Because you don't want that dough being all wet. Okay? We're just going to do that. We're going to put our ball of dough right in there. Clean the hands off a little bit. And the old cling film. Cling film always works best if the little blade thing on the box is there. Mine is not, because I always buy the cheap stuff and the little blade always falls off. There we go. Get it on there as tight as you can. Keep the air out and the goodness in. Now we're going to put this into the oven with the light on. Okay? Because that'll keep to about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Not sure what that is in metric, but it'll keep it warm. And we're going to let that sit and proof in the oven for about an hour. Check back with you then. Okie dokie. After an hour or so, your dough should have risen a bit. Sometimes it'll completely double, sometimes it'll get close. At this point, just take it out onto a floured surface. Now what I like to do is use the same bowl again, but there's going to be a little bit of stuff, so just clean it out. I just run some hot water in it. Boom, we're good to go. This, we're going to knead this some more. We're going to push some more air and stuff into it. We're going to do this so it's nice and smooth. Alright? This will really help. Just keep folding it over and over. Push and roll. Just push and roll. Try to use up all the flour that you have on your surface here. That will help smooth it out and it'll make it easier to work with. Alright? If you get stuff like this, try to it all into itself. It'll make it easier when you're making your pizza. Now we're gonna do this for a few more minutes, and I'll show you what we're gonna do. Remember, try to get it smooth. Smooth, smooth, smooth. It's a really cold, cold day here. It's, down in the teens. And my old furnace doesn't like that. So it doesn't get the house as warm as I like it. So sometimes makes baking a little tricky. But, like I said, I don't think I've ever had a really bad pizza. I've had some pizza that wasn't as good as others, but so it goes. Okay, let's form this into a nice smooth ball. All right. You should have it looking kind of like that. Okay. Now, take this hot water out of the bowl. Don't burn yourself, young man. Don't burn yourself. Dry it out. Getting out any bits of old dough that are left in there. Yeah, the warm bowl will actually help the dough rise. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put just a little dash of olive oil in here. A little dash. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to rub that around in here, up the sides a bit. Rub that out. Going to drop the dough into here. And we're going to try to roll it around in that oil a little bit to keep the dough from drying out as we proof it a second time. Okay? There we go. Let's put the old cling film back on if it'll let me. If it doesn't, we can always use a tea towel or a plate or whatever. But it looks like it's going to work with me this time. So, back into the oven. There we go. And we will be back for more in just a bit. Okay, now comes the fun part. One of the fun parts. I'm going to take it out of the oven, and as you can see, it has gotten much larger. Ooh, look at that. Now, we're going to push that down a little bit, just make it just lightly puff down, and we're just going to, see, took everything with it. Now, just form this into a ball, however works for you. Nice and smooth like that. And here's what we're going to do. Plastic zip bag. You take this, put it in there. Push out most of the air. We're going to zip it up, and we're going to put it in the fridge. All right? This will store in the fridge for a day or two. It's going to get bigger in there, just so you know. Now, When you're getting ready to use it, take it out of the fridge a good hour before you're planning on using it. At that point, all you have to do is flatten it out, put on your toppings, and cook it up. But more about that later. Okay, my young friend, as I told you it would, the dough gets bigger when it sits. That's just from a few hours. If I'd left it in there overnight, it probably would have filled up the whole bag. Now, most important part of any pizza, and you might be too young to realize this yet, but this is true. The sauce. That's where it gets real. I'm going to teach you how to make an easy sauce. I mean, it's so easy I can do it. Okay? Now, we're going to start out with a little 8-ounce can of just plain tomato sauce. You can get this at Aldi or Tesco or wherever. Doesn't have to be fancy, just plain old tomato sauce. Okay? And for that, we're going to need to put it into a little pot. Just something little like that. And make it easy. Careful you don't cut yourself. Okay? Boom. Alright. Gonna need a few other things. A little bit of Parmesan cheese, grated Parmesan cheese. This will thicken it up a little bit. It'll stick to the pizza better. Don't need to use a lot. Alright? If you really like the flavor of it, use as much as you want. But you just need 1, 2, 3 shakes. That ought to do it. Alright? Now, as it's a tomato sauce, tomato is naturally kind of acidic, so we need to break down that acid. Just a little spoon, some sugar, boom. That will do it. And this little pot of sauce will be enough for 1 pizza. Alright? Now, we're going to need some seasoning. I usually just use a prepackaged pizza seasoning. This is by King Arthur. Alright? But if you can't find that, you'll just need some dried spices. Dried onion powder, garlic powder, basil, oregano, red pepper flakes, and a little pinch of salt. Now, I actually go for a little more basil. So, this is what I'm going to do. Put in 1, 2, yeah, let's go 3. 3 pinches of pizza seasoning. If you're making your own, just put it in a little jar, and that way you have it whenever you want. I also grab just some sweet basil. It really adds something to the sauce. Just give it 3 shakes. 3 seems to be a good number today. Now, take a spoon. We're gonna stir that up before we add any heat to it. Okay? Pretty gosh darn simple if you ask me. So, it's going to look a little something like that. Alright? We're going to put it on a relatively low heat. Alright? That way, because you don't want it to boil, you just want it to get hot. Alright? So we'll leave that sit Let me put these away. Clean out your tins for recycling. Have to be nice to the planet. Okay, now get your oven preheated to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not sure how your oven works, but I'm sure your mom can help you out with that one. Okay, we're going to need a couple other things. You're going to need some shredded mozzarella cheese, because you really can't have pizza without it. So, shredded mozzarella cheese. Now, toppings, put whatever toppings you like. The wife and I, we're going with pepperoni. Okay? You can put sausage on it. You can put peppers. You can put onions. I've seen people put little meatballs on it. Just please, 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 don't put pineapple on it. That makes Americans cry, okay? But just a second here. Let me see how the sauce is coming along. Okie dokie do. Right, Gus? Okay. Now, let me just move stuff out of my way here. Now, depending on how thick you want the crust, you can make 1 or 2 pizzas out of this. Alright? I'm going to just make 1. So it'll be a decent sized pizza. Now, rather than use a pizza tray, I'm just going to use a regular old baking tray. I'm going to put just a drop of oil on here, and that'll be just to keep it from sticking. Okay? And because I don't want to get it all over my fingers, I'm going to take a piece of paper towel and wipe it all over this. You can use your fingers if you want. I don't like to get that messy. Cover the whole thing. That way your pizza isn't going to stick. Okay? Now you're probably seeing the guys in the pizza parlors twirling the pizza in the air. When I was younger, I could probably do that. But I'm getting older and I can't do that. I just shut the heat off to the sauce because it looks hot enough to me. Now, I'm going to take the dough right on out of the thingy. Whoop. Now, you can stretch this with your hands however you want. Okay? Make a couple fists, put it up in here. See, if you go too hard, you get a hole in it. That's also because I forgot to do something. Yep. Grown-ups make mistakes too. Take just a little bit of flour. Just like that. Work work it around there with my hand. Drop that on it. And this will flour up the dough a little bit. It'll make it easier to work with. Okay? So I was kind of jumping the gun there. Really, you don't want it that thick. So, where's my, oh, there it is. I'm just going to use a rolling pin. Okay? Rolling pins work. They're good for a multitude of things. I'm going to roll it out, thin it up. If you want it round, if you're using a round pan or tray, try to get it round. If you just want to do a big rectangular one, you can do that. You can make it whatever shape you really want. Alright? That's the great thing about making your own. If you want to look like a dinosaur, you can cut it to look like a dinosaur. Okay. Now, make a fist, put it right in here, and we're just going to pull on it a little bit. Alright? Then, taking it by the edges, we're going to let gravity do its thing. Okay? I'm going to shake it a little bit, and it'll stretch. Alright? This is doing pretty much the same as when you see the guys in the pizza parlor twirling it around. Alright? Get your hands on up in here. Stretch it out, thin it out a little bit. If you want, go back at it with there we go. And one of the reasons why I keep flipping it over like that is to make sure that the flour that's on here gets onto here. That way it won't keep shrinking back. Alright? Watch those. I got stuff going everywhere here. Alright, we'll call that good enough. Now, get your tray out here, and just going to drop it on there, and you can size this however you want, because that's a pretty thick crust, because it's going to whoosh when you bake it. So, just stretch it out however you want it. The missus and I, we're not too picky. Alright? Kind of want it like that. Alright? If you want to take it all the way to the corners, take it all the way to corners. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. Personally, I kind of like a thick crust. Alright? The crust is one of my favorite parts. So, get yourself a spoon. We're going to do this with a sauce. Watch and learn. Drizzle around on there. Then use the bottom part of the spoon. Spread it around. See, still a lot of sauce left in here. Just get that around, get it out to the edges, or as close to the edge as you can get. You don't really want it dripping off over the side though. Okay? I mean, you might, but first time, follow along. When you get really good at it, you can decide for yourself how you want to do it. A little more sauce, because you want to taste the sauce. Okay. There's a little more on there. And guess what? If you have a little bit of sauce left over, you can save it to dip stuff in. You never know. Okay. Now, depending on how much cheese you like, you get to decide. You want a lot, you can use a lot. You don't want a lot, you don't have to use a lot. Alright? Just loosely crumble that shredded mozzarella cheese onto the pizza. We need more. The wife likes as much as humanly possible. I'm not that crazy about it, but remember, you're making this for you and for your mom and your dad, or maybe a young girlfriend or one of the neighbors, who knows. Make it how you like it. Okay? Now, if you just want a cheese pizza, boom, you're done. All you have to do is put it in the oven. But while a cheese pizza is fine, I have to admit I have a preference for pepperoni. So, and I do a little something different when I put the pepperoni on. All right? I'm kind of a religious guy, so I do this. I always make the sign of the cross when I put it on. And I also say the Lord's Prayer. It's called crossing your food. So, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive our sins as we forgive those who have sinned against us. Lead us not into temptation, and deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Because I know that the missus really likes pepperoni. I'm going to put a lot of pepperoni on here. There, I thought. There we go. You like pepperoni? I bet you do. Boom. See, it's looking more and more like pizza already. Now remember, the first time you make this, maybe have mom or dad help you out with it. Alright? After that, you'll become the master of the kitchen. I see it coming. Okay? Because your mom tells me that you like to cook and you're good at it. And your mom, from what I understand, is really looking forward to trying this. Because she wants to be the official taste tester. Alright? And if your pizza comes out as good as mine usually does, I got news for you. We're good to go. But I am going to open this this up and just put a little more in here. Just because there's room for more. The oven just told me this. It is preheated, so timing has been perfect. I just need to get a couple more slices of pepperoni on here. Fill up these empty spots up top. And boom, look at that. It's ready to go in the oven. Now, we have a 450-degree oven, and we're going to put this in here. Be careful, it's hot. We're going to put it in there for 14 minutes. See you then. Have your oven gloves ready, all right? Because you don't want to burn your hands and you don't want to burn the pizza, okay? Just a couple of seconds here. All right, 14 minutes is usually just about perfect, all right? Your oven could be different. We'll find out. Let's see. Oh, there's the timer. Out of the oven carefully. And whoa, how's that for perfection? Huh? Is that perfect or what? All right, let it cool down just a little bit, cut it up, and enjoy. Take care, buddy.